Pratt is a long-standing friend of the school, and she's done lots of work with us in various capacities, but we asked her to join us each year because her primary area of involvement is as director of Novella Pratt and Associates, an executive placement firm that most of you have probably heard of. So she's ideally placed as a kind of headhunter to talk about how do we craft the future going forward. Careers is not something we spend a lot of time on in this MBA because you are all already in a career. But we do want to make sure you make the most of what you have going forward. So, and it's a great delight once again to welcome you back to GIBS and to ask you to open the doors, in a sense, to our students.
Thanks, Jonathan. And thank you. And what a wonderful day it is. I can feel the excitement in the room. I must say, I love doing sessions because it always allows me to reconnect with, the end of that MBA. I did go to that other school down the road, but a third of our faculty are here, so we feel pretty much at home. But I think really up front, and it's something that we often don't do enough as leaders, is to really celebrate. So today for me for you is a day of celebration. Congratulations. It's a day of reflection. It's also a day of thinking about your future and what vision you want to carve out for that future. So part of what I'm going to be talking about is about how you could perhaps go about that. But I think very importantly, and often as intellectuals sitting in business schools, we don't really stand up and show how we celebrate. So I'm going to ask you to all stand up. I want you to firstly acknowledge yourselves. I want you to acknowledge your friends, your adversaries, I won't be able to expand on some of the tools and things in more detail, but really my objective is to give you a flavour. Some facts and figures, I'm sure you've been studying lots of those, but certainly if you put Africa and South Africa into a context, there are great opportunities to talk about remarkable leadership. As a headhunter that's had the privilege of placing a lot of the top leaders in this country, we're very passionate about leadership. So we'd like to talk to you about where does your MBA fit in, and what kind of competence does it give you, but what other competencies are required and exhibited by the remarkable leaders we have in this country. Managing your expectation, again, where does it fit into the big picture? It's a great stepping stone, but what else do you need going down the line? Some tips and hints. Then in the process, it's called a refus. It's a process you can use to create a vision for the future, and then finally talking about really getting connected to the fact that South Africa is alive with possibility. I'm sure you know most of these figures already, but Africa and Asia were the only two continents that have shown collectively expanded during the recession. Interestingly, China has provided more finance in Africa than the World Bank over the recent years. Economic growth on the continent in 27 out of the 30 largest economies. And also interestingly, the collective inflation in Africa used to be 22% in the 90s. It came right down to 8%, and budget deficits decreased from 4.6 to 1.8% of GDP. Real compounded growth, 4.9. The two continents ahead of us are up there. And here's an interesting fact. On the continent, 360 million new cell phone users. That is bigger than the population of the United States of America. In South Africa, we have an interesting history. We know the only constant is change. We came from a period of turmoil in '94, but between 2004 and 2007, we've seen our growth rate going up, and again above many, certainly the economies of Europe and the Americas. We've also, this is an interesting fact, we're 5% of the African population, but we represent 30% of Africa's GDP. So certainly South Africa position for Africa, the GDP, and more than 50% also sitting in manufacturing. So for those of you sitting in different sectors, there's certainly great opportunities. Sadly, we've declined this year in the World Competitiveness Report to 54th position. We know we have strengths in our financial services and banking sector, but we also know we have a number of weaknesses, our challenges, and that's why people like you come out of business schools with new thinking, creative thinking. The official figures on unemployment we know are not accurate. Probably unemployment is closer to 40%. So yes, the budding entrepreneurs and the budding remarkable corporate leaders sitting in this class go out there and create new opportunity of growth and improve those unemployment rates. You could be sitting on a social time bomb. The inspiring leader, this is what they, many leaders that are still out there. Some of them, I'm sure you have had a few ex-bosses that may operate in this kind of way.
Thanks. Have a good day. Mr. Delaney's office. Oh, hello, Mr. Delaney. You're not feeling well? I'm sorry. Yes, I can have that ready for you. Oh, you stop in tomorrow. And what about the big presentation today at 2 o'clock? Absolutely, I'll have a conference doing from home. Okay. Feel better, Mr. Delaney.
Hopefully you've learned how not to be that kind of person. What does market mean? We're very passionate about leadership in this country. I think the MBA, very much built on the scientific model of management, gives us a great intellectual grounding. I think GIBS has been a very pioneering school that's gone beyond the sort of traditional form. I mean, I think the exchange programs, I think some of the experiential stuff that Jonathan has shared with me. So I think it goes to a level beyond just simply IQ, but very well grounded in giving you good technical competence. And as you can see up there are so many key competencies that are required and that your MBA and IQ intellectual development will support you in. But yeah, and I think GIBS also does this very well. There is a need to translate the thinking in the textbooks into the hardcore reality. So PQ, practical intelligence, is also equally important. These two is an interesting thing. I think, again, a lot of speakers happen around emotional intelligence. In fact, while I was waiting to set up, I heard Candace saying, gosh, have you seen these figures? Looking at Israel, and Israel said, your hair looks stunning today. Didn't comment on the figures at all. SQ is something people don't really talk about. It's what I call spiritual intelligence. Quite interestingly, and when we placed Lazim as the CEO of MTA in Africa, our brief from Paul Norman, the Group HR Director, part of the attributes was for an individual with an inner wisdom. Now, any of you who know Lazim pretty well would know he's a very committed say, but I'm talking about somebody who has a spiritual view of the world, who sees making his contribution and creating his legacy beyond his own individual gain. And I think the remarkable leaders that I have the privilege of meeting, and just to give you a couple of examples, but before I do that, it's a quote that came up from the late Steve Biko, who, for those who may or may not know, had a relationship with Dr. Mampela Rampelli before he died. And Mampela is a very close friend of mine and a client. And it was Steve Biko who said, we believe in the long run, special contributions by Africa will be in the field of human relationships, and I would expand that to say leadership. The great powers of the world, they have done wonders in giving the world a military and an industrial look, but the greatest gift from Africa has still to come. It's to give the world a more human face. I want to pause here for a moment, because I think the process you've been through the last 1 and 2 years, for those of you on different programs, is fantastic. My plea and my urge to you is to know that leadership goes way beyond what you've learned here. This is a wonderful stepping stone. It's a remarkable foundation, but I've had the privilege of interviewing people, and if I think of the remarkable leaders in this country, Praveen Gordon, Mampela Rampeli, Fred Botswana, ex-chairman of Transnet, currently chairman of Standard Bank, also a good friend and client, Jeff Everingham, the acting chair of Transnet, having gone through these processes with these kinds of leaders in the country, they all display certain attributes and qualities that I've seen consistently across all of them. And that is they all have a balance of all of these Q factors, as I call them up there. Praveen, talking to him about the turnaround of SARS, what he did, how he did it, what worked, what didn't, what the gaps were. Praveen is an incredibly humble man. He grew up in Durban, in West Street, bottom of West Street near the market, in a little flat. His family had a little fabric shop downstairs. And if you look, he's a pharmacist by background, very high PQ, practical application, okay. But he is a remarkable human being in that, and all of these people I've mentioned, there is a greater sense of purpose for a greater good than their own personal gain. So I think that's really important. And for those aspiring future leaders in this country, I think that's a model that can really support you. Where to from here? You know, what makes people shine? I think, as I said, it is about applying your knowledge. It is about PQ. It's really, your India is a launch pad. It's a stepping stone, a wonderful one, but it is. And I think it is about, for each of you, to try and find ways in which you can create a greater experience of getting fit in all of the Q factors, as I mentioned. Post-MBA, people often ask me, where to from here? You know, it's, if we're not constantly re-engineering ourselves and developing ourselves, we become stagnant, as we know. But some of the ideas and certainly strategies I followed in my own career is about future leadership and governance. You know, for those of us who weren't the financial wizards and perhaps came from a marketing background, but strategy, finance, corporate governance. And it is about managing your own brand. Each one of you is a brand. I'm fascinated. I often interview very senior people who are so brilliant at strategy in their businesses, and yet they don't have a clear career strategy themselves. So I really want to urge you to apply your mind and focus your discipline on that too. Mentorship, all of us need role models and heroes. I know in the aging process, you know, often it is, but certainly Tina Turner and Jane Fonda is one of mine. And I think it's about having different mentors for different kinds of things. Research organizations. I really want to talk to the employment equity candidates in this room. Those of you who are really good get phone calls often from people like us. And you're often happily married, but I think for all of you this is true. Be stable in your careers. You often get those calls saying, come and chat to us, find this great new best opportunity, and yet maybe you've had only 18 months in your current position. It may seem attractive short term, obviously the offer of great wealth and extra remuneration, and of course, yes, we need to put more pennies in the piggy bank. But the truth is, there will come a time where that catches up with you. I often use this example because when Safisa Debengwa, who we put into MTN, briefed us at Eskom and wanted new people of colour coming into the business. And by the way, Safisa and I did our MBAs together at that other business school. But Safisa said to me, he said, you know, Anne, I don't want any person of colour who hasn't spent a minimum of 3 years in their current organisation. I won't even look at their CV. So I want you to think about that and manage that carefully. Understand the value of giving back. What can each of us do? I also share this example. You know, so often South Africa's got so many challenges, and I don't know, I'm sure there are days when I feel overwhelmed, and I'm sure there are days when you feel that too. But I want to share a very quick story where my first boyfriend and I at university, Colin was from Zimbabwe, he was an engineer, and he and I moved out with both students. As a Zimbabwean, he had very little exchange, money coming into the country, tight exchange control. I was putting myself through university, and Colin and I took on our helper's family. And in fact, my helper, her husband had left her, kicked her out of the house. She was left with 5 children. The day we met her, the children were so hungry, they used to go to the neighbour's tap to fill their babies with water. Anyway, we said, this is our little social project. So we took them on, we fed them, we educated them. And when I left Durban, I managed to get Sylvia a job at Durban University. I knew that would secure her. She's the most wonderful woman. And that gave the future education for children. Today, all of those 5 children are degreed or teachers. Her youngest daughter has just bought her first motor car. Her eldest daughter is doing a master's degree in development economics. So my message is, don't be overwhelmed. Each of us, and charity begins at home. So each of us can and do something, and very often those people are often our greatest teachers. Some other tips and hints: always follow the passion. You can always feel passion in people. It kind of exudes in their aura. Try entrepreneurship. Those of you are the entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs in the room. Who are you? A great model that I learned was to try entrepreneurship before entrepreneurship. When I was at Lever Brothers in marketing, I had a fashion clothing business, fully disclosed. But that gave me a launch pad and a safe place to try entrepreneurship and then at a later stage to become an entrepreneur. Understand the triple bottom line. I've just come back from Montreal, the International Women's Forum, of top women leaders around the world, where the theme of the conference was about water, wealth, and power. I had to travel 17 hours across the world to listen to a South African ecopreneur, as they call them, educate me and tell me that by 2013, Cape Town would have run out of water. By 2016, Gauteng will have significant water crisis problems. Now, as leaders, when we read these flashy annual reports about our triple bottom line, often it's like another intellectual, oh, okay, it's put in the glossies of this, etc. But my appeal to you is that these are serious global and South African issues. So when we understand governance and triple bottom line and we care about it, that's what we need to do to actually inspire us to find ways as leaders that we can be responsible in our businesses, and we can make sure from a sustainability point of view we're taking care not only of today, but the future of our children and tomorrow. Effective and ethical communication strategies, supportive networks, in terms of diversity. This is a wonderful platform. I still connect with many of my MBA colleagues. So for those of you, who's the social organizer in the class? Make sure you've got the names and numbers. Get the class together every so often. These people will be invaluable friends, mentors, support partners for many, many years to come. Have a can-do attitude. Balance your formal education with the University of Life. That's what I spoke about in terms of PQ. And then, of course, the life skills, the SQ. Leave a worthwhile legacy. It is about the big dream. If I think about Nick and this business school 10 years ago, I'm in absolute awe of what Nick and the team of Married Men and Women have created here. And where the school started, it was a dream. So don't be afraid to dream big. Be accountable. KISS principle, it was Dr. Edward de Bono who said, it takes great intellect to cut through the complexity to get to a simple solution. Overcome the obstacles of fear, cynicism, laziness. I don't think this class would really suffer from that. But bad habits and arrogance. And arrogance is often the flip side of deep fear and insecurity. So whenever I meet arrogant people, I know at some intrinsic level they have a low self-esteem. Know a little about a lot, and although strategy is brilliant and I love it and I specialise in it, the excellence does sit in the detail. Choose your friends carefully. As a friend of mine once said, we become the average of the 5 closest people in our circle. So be very discerning about who you choose to put around you. Develop the compelling stories. It often inspires others. Plan forward, as I've alluded to, and stay consciously fit. There is a tool which I would like you to have, and I'm sorry we don't have more time this year to really practice using this tool. Having specialized in strategy myself, a lot of this is kind of, what are the results we want to achieve, what is the vision, what is the action plan. That part of it is very easy for you folks because you've been learning about all those good things, and I'm sure you've practiced it many times in your businesses anyway. The two steps that I didn't pick up in a business school, the one was the underlying intention. And to give you an example, when we wrote the strat plan for our business, the Mela Pratt and Associates, I was actually sitting on a beach in Koh Samui in Thailand. The question that I asked was, what is the underlying intention? We launched 16 years ago. We were the first global search firm to launch with a diversity partner. Sonia Nursery, who's currently chairman of Sasol, was my founding partner. And when Hicks and I, we go back to Leeds together. We were colleagues and friends at Lever Brothers. But what mattered to us was the fact that we wanted to launch a global search firm that was committed to empowerment and transformation, that walked the talk, and didn't do it just because it was politically correct, but because it would make a difference. And when we probed that, it's a bit like peeling the onion. When we took the layers off and we said, but why is that important to us? And what we really came up with as partners and as a team was that we truly wanted to help South Africa transform. We truly believed in the Medieval Rainbow Nation. We truly believe that people of all colour in this country have an ability and a competence and a value to add to the performance and the chemistry and the values and the success of South Africa. So where that really helped us was, you know, we have our off days and we have our good days, but during our off days, when it was like, my goodness, this is really tough. And we made a number, Nsebo Gopi was our first consultant. She was trained up as the first black consultant in the top search firm in this country. Yeah, we've been through we had a lot of challenges, but when the going got tough, we went back to our intention, because it's like, this is so hard. Why don't, we've got all these challenges, and it was like, some new and stuff, we had training department, you had to get up there and do it yourself, you had to make it all happen. And it was going back to the underlying intention that truly kept us on track with our purpose. So it's the thing of getting support. So I was getting into our drama. I'm meant to be the smart GIBS MBA kid on the block. I can't go and ask, what are they going to think, So putting support in place and having the right kind of support partners is also something that has so supported me in my life. Pampela Rampere is one of my support people in my life. I can't tell you how valuable that is when there are certain critical decisions that have been tough and I'm dealing with more difficult situations, that having somebody that you respect, that you trust, so put support around you, and people who will hold you accountable. That's what like going to gym. I didn't feel like getting up today. And Tony, mate, you want a gym support partner who says, John, where were you this morning? You're leaving the cycle. You say you want to come to gym, help us get fit, and so sleeping in. Do you think that's cool? We're in this together. You want a support partner that is going to hold you accountable. It was Kiyosaki, and he said, true learning takes energy, passion, a burning desire. Anger is a big part of that formula. For passion is love and anger combined. When it comes to money, and this, I think Robert and his wife Kim have done a fantastic job in creating, but it's not only about money. I think when it comes to life, most people want to play it safe and feel secure. So passion does not direct them, but fear does. I want to leave you with a clip, and is that in this are some of our own homegrown, remarkable South African leaders. And so often when we get into business, they say, it's the numbers that drive it, we're going to make things happen. And we lose that aspect of ourselves that has the EQ and the SQ, the compassion, the sense of purpose, the commitment to make a bigger difference for a greater good. And I think this connects us with some of our very own homegrown role models.
Click again.
Today, I woke up in a place that said to me, be free.
I woke up in a place that said, be what you want to be. I woke up to a dream. And I realize that I'm stronger than I was yesterday. I woke up in a place where it's the size of your heart that counts, not your fists. Because yesterday, I was digging for gold, and today, I'm wearing it. Yesterday, I was burning with frustration. Today, I'm growing big business.
I woke up and realized that I don't need a gun to make you listen.
And even if I have nothing, this place can give me everything.
All I need to is believe.
Today, I woke up in a place whose cheering can be heard on the other side of the world. A place where my brother is my brother, no matter what. Today, I woke up in a place that flows with courage, that loves, that's cried, that says,
today, I woke up in a place that sings with hope to the rest of the world.
And I smiled because South Africans are creating a new dawn every day.
Today, I woke up in South Africa.
So, congratulations. Go out there, dream big, and really just, I think it's a fantastic achievement. So I want to honour you, and I really hope that you take all the wisdom from this business school and go make things happen for this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Anne, for sharing those thoughts, inspiring thoughts and direction-giving thoughts. And there is Adele with something.